Pripravení? Dobre si proteín, co radšej. Nervák, ďakujem ti. Zadejte dotaz pro vyhledávanie databázy. Hledaný vražda. Čo to je? Hledat. Hodiny. Čo je za píčovinu? Uvedol logické databáze. Počítačová technológie je pád trží moderní práce policie. Táto databáze obsahuje záznam z videokazety vraždy a závažné činy, ktorá byla archivovaná v port, kde si. Záznam je automaticky seřazen pomocí naší ASR technologie. Každý výrok řečený vyslychanými je uložen zvlášť a môže byť označen pro pozdější využití u soudu. Důležité. Tady databáze. Vyplnil jsem formulář pro svobodu informací, aby dostal přístup hosta. Vypadá to, že vše funguje. Videa se převedla z originálních kazet roku 1999 a díky problému roku 2000 se dočasně vyřadila z provozu. Od té doby je nikdo neviděl. Nemohl jsem najít server s videostopou detektivu, nejspíše byl zničen během potopy z roku 1997, ale myslím, že to bude stačit. Nemusíš spěchat. SB. Hack. OK, a čo mám ako robiť? OK, a čo to sa ako mám robiť? No nič, chlapci. Bolo to rýchle, že si očakával? OK, lepšie. Dobre, to vypadá lepšie. Hra dostala názvu streamu, to nechápem. Dobre, počúvaj, ja by som nedokázal nič vyhľadať. Kontrola DB? Svazek chybí. Čiže to je bez šance. Nemáme šancu, ideme hrať niečo iné.
Tady máš ty prachy.
Dneska si ma stal 7 eur a jeden giftnutý subik, tak po UFCčku mi to vynahradíš cukrík rec.
Čiže dali mi jedno slovičko, ktoré tam môže byť, iba sa pozrieme, že čo je ďalšia kniha to hľadať. Dá som hľadať nič. Vydávať nejaké výrazy. Knife, OK. Knife. Nič. Gun. Nič. Píš česky. Car. Nič. Auto? Ty koko, to nemôže byť po česky, čo to tak nefunguje isto. Auto. Počkaj, teda... Dátum 3.7. 27.6. 18.6. OK. Tagy blank.
Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier, and a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked on the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back.
Dobre, takže tam neviem povedať nič. Jak vypadal? Nervózne, alebo si vymýšľal píčoviny?
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly.
Yikes, ženo.
Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
Dobre.
It's like I told you before. I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine.
To trošku zmenila ona, nie?
In the car, when I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back.
Čiže jak to môže byť prepadá, keď to má 26% vysiebli, toto bude topka.
She was more important to me than Simon.
Dobre, takže vieme meno, Erik jej frajera, čiže to je, ale tam bolo, že prvá vec, že vražda.
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
Dobre.
Yeah, that's me.
Čiže táto hra má viac percent ako vy v čete.
That was
Rozumiete?
months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
Takže Simon, počuj ešte raz.
Yeah, that's me. But February, and that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
Takže Simon alebo Erik. Dobre, dáme najskôr Erik. Erik sa volal?
So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
Jak to môžeme ale ukladať tie dátumy tak, aby sme si to pospájali? Preto to bolo 94, hento rok predtým bol koľko, čet? Papír a tuška, to nemusíme dať s papierom a tuškou, čet, to sme kde?
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash, but Eric convinced him to get one.
Musím zapisovať niečo. Dobre, vieme ešte, jak sa volal ten druhý? Samuel? Nie, Samuel.
Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
Aha. To je dosť neskoro. Počkaj ešte raz.
Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
Takže Diane. Ty môj kokot. A teraz nemusíme dávať pridať do zoznamu všetky tie videá, chat, aby som ich mal proste v jednej databázi? Možno.
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle, it was cold. I looked quickly in the living room, nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor.
Doug a
I
Eleanor.
decided to come and see you. Eleanor?
Počúvaj. Ty koko, co to nemáme šancu vyšetriť túto vraždu. Čet, nulová šanca, nulová. Ako ja viem, že si máme vyhľadať čet Simon, Diane a niečo tam bolo s únorom, len kde nemá nič kurva únor, ty kokot.
Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diana's a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off Ceefax, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
Čo ti jebe? To nemáme čet, že absolútne žiadnu novú totálnu šancu. Toto je konec. OK, jak sa volá čet? Simon. Čiže to je 94... Jak tam bola tu? To čo sú za otázky? Je vinná tá kurva. Myslíš?
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work, mirror making, feature windows, artistic things, really beautiful things. Simon Smith.
Simon
He
Smith.
works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do
Simon
windows,
Smith
all
a
kinds of-
Ernst Brothers. OK. Simon Smith a Ern Brothers. Bridher. OK. Dobre sa to uloží.
Hello.
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo. They said I should bring a photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have.
Stále ďakujem kabrňák, k tomu ďakujem mluvím pekne, Maňo díkes. Dneska si ma stal 7 € a jeden giftnutý sabik, to pro UFCčku mi potom vynahradíš, cukrík. 100% neurážku, ďakujem ti veľmi pekne. Čiže víte, že to nás zajebala? Víš to, ona bude vrah? Dobre, tu dáme, že je foto. Foto Hoto of... Jak sa volá chat? Simon.
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
Takže tam bol všetko? Peter, Susan, a kto?
It's the Rockington Arms.
Rockington Arms. Rockington Arms. Rockington Arms?
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan.
Peter a
There's
Susan.
some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with,
Peter a
and the barmaid
Susan.
they're having sometimes, Helen.
Peter a Susan. Peter, Susan a Helen. Helen, dobre, napríklad. Next. Počkaj, ale... Ja musím do zoznam a tam si budem triediť?
Yes, there's an abstract one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games. You know, climb the tower.
Boha,
save the
zase som to
princess.
zabudol zrušiť restu.
Metamorfolog, neviem, ja to nízam. Ďakujem pekne, Žolo, 94, čau. Počkaj. To sú dve rôzne ženy, chat? Čo ti jebe? To nebolo nič, ale. Tam nebolo nič. Že hrá hry pojebané. Blbeček hrá hry. Čekajte, neboj sa, ja to mám pod kontrolou.
Simon isn't the type
Čiže nie je to iná žena, ja mám to
to
iba.
run off or do anything crazy.
To sú len dátumy inakšie.
Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next?
Tiež neviem, čo budeme robiť ďalej. No. Dobre, takže chceme si zistiť... Dobre, takže vieme čo, chat. Že jeho šéf a, jak sa volal, Ern a Helen, či jak sa volala tá štetka, že dobre varila, blablabla. Dobre, čo potrebujem vedieť, chat? Čo jeme ďalej, chat? Mi horí hlava s rozmýšľaním, do piče, ticho. Čo hľadáme ďalej, chat? Čo hľadáme ďalej? Ideme niečo o Helen zistiť? Nie, môžeme skúsiť one, chat. Jak tam bolo? Blbeček hrá hry, to nič. Rockington Arms. Rockington Arms. OK, tak to nič. Takže Peter, Susan a Helen. Peter. Susan. Helen. Nové video o Helen, chat. Tá už je v 3 videách, kamoško.
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blondes.
Oh shit, kto nie? Čo tam nám, že hádka? Počkaj, ešte raz si mi tam niečo myslí, chat.
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blondes.
Ok, nič sa nie, chat. Má rád blond. Dobre. Čiže ďalej, čo tam môžeme dať? Noc? Počkaj, to je kde? 18.6. 25. 18, 25. Ok, to je k tomu. To je k tomuto. A tuto v červených šatách sme už nevideli, to bude dávno potom asi, 27.6, to je neskôr. A tretia sierby, to je úplne že neskôr, keď budeme pozrieť. Tu už vypadá... Ukáž.
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday.
Vždycky chceli dať dovolenou. Jak sa tam volalo?
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton.
Brightonu.
It would have been too much to...
Brighton. Brighton. Brighton hotel.
I wasn't in the house all of Friday night. After the arguments,
Kde si bola?
after Simon left, I left too.
A kam si išla, ha?
I was upset and I wanted to get away. So I took the car.
Počúvaj. Po hádke išla autom preč. Počúvaj, ona to bude, ti hovorím. Buď ho išla sledovať a v nenávisti ho zabila. Koho zabili? Jej frajera. Alebo manžela, asi teda. Aha. Dobre, že máme ten Ubisoft, ideme to pozrieť? Ja to vidím. Ja to vidím na Her Story chat a môžeme pokračovať trošičku. Ale musím zvýšiť trošku hudbu tam. Čiže to nevie, o čo ide, tak zistíme, kto je vrah. Zistíme, kto je vrah. Po hádke išla autom preč. OK. Mám ju v zozname, alebo nemám? Dobre. Spustiť. Dám pridať do zoznamu a spustiť.
I didn't. I slept in the car. I left about 9 that night. I wasn't there.
Kde tam? Je ako v dobe, ako asi je pri vražde. Počkaj, ešte raz.
I didn't. I slept in the car. I left about 9 that night.
Odešla sem kolem 9. Odešla kolem 9, spala v aute. Dobre.
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do to drive to the other end of the country. I wanted to keep it simple. I knew it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now.
Now he's čo? Môže, keď ovce mám. Ferguson na pentakill?
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do to drive to the other end of the country.
Stoj. Chat. Hľadáme nejaké nápovedy alebo niečo, aby sme vedeli v databázi vyhľadávať nejaké veci, čo sa udiali. Pretože jej frajer zomrel a ona je akéby... Proste my hľadáme, kto to spravil. Takže keď si niečo všimnete, že nejaké slovo alebo niečo podozrivé, kričte, lebo ja som tupec.
Country, I wanted to keep it simple. I knew it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract.
Říct, že jsem strávila noc v Glasgow v den, kdy se mi ztratil manžel.
Went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's...
Dobre, čo môžeme napísať, že v deň, keď manžel ušiel, alebo zmizol, spala v Glasgow, neviem, jak sa to píše, fuck it. Dobre, napríklad, to bol tento, Napíš tam Kremeš. Gremlin z 48 mesiacov, Černý 21, ďakujem ti. Dobre, čo je toto?
Nothing else happened that night. We talked, then I said goodbye. Then next week I was singing in the bar again, and there he was. And again the next week, he offered to buy me a meal. I told them I had already eaten, and so we got chips and ate them on the beach instead. When we said goodbye, he asked me to kiss him. Romantic.
Dobre, takže tu je akože... Toto bolo akože, jak sa spoznali. Ako sa spoznali. Je tak? Ale... Nič tam iné nebolo, že by sme mohli ďalej vyhľadávať, čet. Takže môžeme dať hľadať, takže noc. Dobre, čo tam môžeme dať, čet? Môžeme tam dať... Modrina. Počkaj, nechcem, aby si teraz na prázdno tu hádzal niečo a potrebujem z toho, čo sme my zatiaľ uvideli, vieš? Takže zranenie, napríklad. To by sme hľadali tak, ako by zranenie tam není. Čo hovoríš, na zajtra? Teším sa. To je dneska, blázen, za chvíľočku. Zranení. Aha, to je po čechunsky. Zranení... Počkaj, Diana, nie? Diana, počkajte, Helen. Helen bola tá barmanka. Jak sa volal ten, nie Gusčet, jak sa on volal? Helen bola barmanka. A jak sa volali toho Simona šéfovci? Carlito a tá jeho žena? Carlito? Nič. Je to iba Karl asi. Karl? OK, Karl. Tu máme čo zistiť. Takže o Karlovi musíme niečo zistiť.
Tak kod dneska. Diaz nebo Ferguson. Zami Ferguson.
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit. But he was sexy. We were 15.
Oh shit. Dobre. Nazveme to, že prvý sex s Karlom. Čekať? Čo keď čet? Počkaj. Dobre, vydržte.
No, I was 15. Carl was older. 17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It's stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
Family. Dobre, tam nemusím dávať, tam nebolo žiadne infochat. Tam nemusím dávať.
Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon.
Tu tiež nič není v tomto. Tu tiež nič. Takže dáme... family, skúsime dať. Či rodina. Rodina. Môžeme aj Simon pozrieť, a to sme už kúkali, sa mi zdá. Dobre, ukáž rodina, čo tam je.
No. It was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
Jak sa volala? To meno?
It was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about...
To je píčovina, čet. Eve. Meno. To je ale jakoby... Čiže jak sa povie, nie pohádka, ale... Tam ani si nemusím dávať asi. Eve, rozprávka. Nech sa tam... Ok, napríklad. Napríklad to je sračka, tam nebude nič také. To je čo?
Then she told me she wanted to help more. She said I should move in with her. She would come clean with Simon about me. I was family, I couldn't have a baby in a bedsit. I told her I didn't want to tell Simon. Told her to wait for the time being.
Čet, počkaj. Ešte raz.
Then she told me she wanted to help more. She said I should move in with her. She would come clean with Simon about me. I was family, I couldn't have a baby in a bedsit. I told her I didn't want to tell Simon. Told her to wait for the time being.
Môžeme niečo oddiaľčet? Pobrať? Z tohto? Asi nie. Dieťa v garzonke. Dieťa v garzonke. Dobre, teraz môžeme dať čo? Dieťa. Počkaj, pardon, dieťa. Dieťa. Oh, shit. Počkaj, dieťa tam je šet a Eve. Oh, shit. Oh, tu si jebe hlavu one. Dobre, pomeň skôr Eve. Pomeň skôr Eve. No, ukáž.
Well, my friend Eve. I mean, she was a friend from when I was a kid. And she was always more popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes.
Tady to nič, lebo bola obľúbená u oných v škole.
Yes. We'd fight. We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her.
What the fuck?
And watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment.
Kde si môžeš pozrieť UFCčko?
Made up afterwards.
Fight
It was a
Pass.
love-hate relationship.
Ok, tu nebol žiadne infočet, iba že je pokus o vraždu. Ok, to môžeme uložiť. Pokus o vraždu. Takže násilie v minulosti už mala, čet.
A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London, and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off. I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off.
Rovnám si tú stanicu policajnú čet, to asi nemusíme pozerať, že? To bol nič, asi si myslím. Hana? Kde je Hana? Kde je Hana?
What are you doing talking about Eve?
Aha, to je ona. Jebe na hlavu. Morzevka.
My mother called me Eve.
Čo?
My mother called me Eve.
Čo keď má schizofréniu a Eve je ona a ona si myslela, že ju topila seba. Dobre, čo teraz? Bolo tam Eve chat, ďalej bolo Glasgow. Možno tam iba jedno esko. To, čo ťukala těma prstama? Neviem práve, že. Neviem.
I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could.
Oh.
When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
Pozrieme to včera, môžeme dať, hej, to je pravda, môžeme pozrieť schizofrenia, on nejak si to píše, a dvojičky.
Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
To nemusíme uložiť, asi tam nebolo nič.
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year.
Počkajte. Iba sa joinem do Rainu chat. Rain je na kasíne chat, keď tak si to klemnite. Ešte raz.
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric.
Erik.
He got it this year.
OK, Erik chat. Erik, nové
It was
meno
a
Erik.
wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
Bude tam niečo, čo potrebujem si to zobrať? Ešte raz, ticho.
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this
Eric?
year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
Jak ten, že sa tam žiadni nepovedali? Jak sa volal Erik chat? Erik, podľa nemusíme ani dávať. Erik, tam nič nie je také zaujímavé v tomto videu. Poďme ďalej.
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning. No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
To bylo které?
No.
Hodinky. Dobre, ďalej sme tam sedia čo? Psycho. Je napíše schizofrenia chat. Když to vidie po česky schizofrenie, napíšte to mi do chatu. Môj podľateľ Erik. Počkaj, nemusím tam dávať dloženie. Retardace. Schizofrenie tam není chat.
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister who didn't know she had. She knew that instant. The look on his face. My sister is gone. And she's never coming back.
Jakže je preč? Čo? Počkaj, schizofrenia sa píše s mäkkým i? Poch, mäkké i? Jebe ti na hlavu? Vy ste dementný. Schizo. Hľadáme vrah, chlapci. Dobre, tam môžeme dať teraz. Glasgow sme mali. Dítě. Dietre asi nie. Dítě. Ok, dítě tu máme.
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope.
Nič?
No. I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after.
Nič. To bolo akože potrat.
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Simon's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed and that's when I called the police.
Čo? Počkej, ešte raz.
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Simon's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought.
Rozprávala sa s mamkou?
I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed, and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over.
Co to je za píčovinu, to nedá smysl.
I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back. And
To si uvědomili, že byli úplně vzadu, že to mohlo hocikdo prehodit.
pulled them open,
Prečo by ich otvárala?
saw the body.
Počúvaj, prečo by si otváral pytle?
That's when I called the police.
To je nezmysel, absolútny. To je absolútny nezmysel, Čes. Prečo by to otvárala? V druhom seriálnom videu si myslím, mám modrinu, ukáž?
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out
Je to
of
modrý
school,
alebo
went
nie?
full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity.
Môžeme pozrieť. Dáme vyhľadať úraz.
Yes. It was a shock to him. I mean, we never thought it was possible. I don't know what he... I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the baby. I wasn't really ready to talk to him about it.
Morzeovka? Nie. Modřina? OK, to máme o modrinách čet niečo. Saga zabijak dedí 12 mesiacov.
Bruce? Oh, yeah, no, it's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen and the chair slipped and I kind of hit the door with my face. I mean, it hurt like hell. The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes.
Čo?
I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen. I found the body.
Čo? Ona je mimo.
Bruce?
Dívajte sa.
Oh, yeah, no, it's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen.
Nič ste to všimli, Čet? Dívajte sa.
It's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen. And the bruise.
Kamaráde. Som pridal štetu? Ste písali toto? Že o modrine, že na druhom líci? Fakt? Som si všimol.
The bruise.
A hneď tam...
I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes.
Čet vedel, že som bystrý chalan. Viete, že hej.
I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen. I found the body. If one of us got hurt, the other one would have to be hurt too. A grazed knee, a bruise. When I lost my tooth first, we had to pull our harness to match. Once, I slept with a boy who was seeing another girl. The girlfriend came up to Hannah the next day and punched her in the face, gave her a huge black eye. That night, she had to do the same to me.
Počúvaj, ona je schizofrenia.
She was not too far. I couldn't see out of that eye for days. She snuck a frozen piece up for me from the kitchen. So much of our bodies was synchronized anyway. We started our period on the same day. All our childhood diseases, stomach bugs, nits.
Kamaráda, ona je chorá na hlavu. Já nevím, že mám ti to videa jakože ukládat jako kvůli čomu, já nevím, jak to bude dále pokračovat, víš?
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car. Learned that you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl. Hannah met him first. She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses. After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush.
Hrebeňom?
After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon. This was about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry, the kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left.
Požádám má na 100%, no ne. Skvělý mi to schizofreniu. Napiš rozdvojení osobnost, nebo jak se to napíše po česky? Rozdvojená osobnost. Počkej, odpadky? Odpadky alebo tělo? Odpadky. Pytle. Pytle na odpadky. Tělo. SOS najskôr.
His body did not real. His throat. It looked like his throat had been cut.
Kámoško, jediné, čo viem,
His glasses. Has these thick glasses. It doesn't always wear.
prečo o tom rozpráváš, klbe si prst, to ona je čudná, jak kokot. Viem, že je podľa mňa chorá na hlavu, Jet. Chorá na hlavu, lebo si vymýšľa, klame, zabúda, kde má modriny, modrina má spoločne... Počúvaj, čo?
Really? Okay. Here's the rest. They laid a body on the doctor. Oh, the wind and the rain. Till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. On a dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. On a dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made Yes, the only tune that the field could play was all the dreadful wind down.
Zmizla je tam modrina rýchlo? Ja neviem, lebo tu je taká webka kvality, jak moja ty kokot, vieš, takže ja neviem, či ju má, alebo nemá už.
Anything you sing maybe used as
Ja neviem, koľko to je dní.
Can you imagine? I tried. I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't happen. I slept with so many boys, men. My body refused. I think my period stopped because hers had. I was pretty though. I mean, how could we stay the same now? Felt like Hannah had really fucked things up. Set us down separate paths. We had become different.
Tu nič nebolo v tomto. O tele lebo nebolo nič, ty kokot, akože máte rozrezané hrdlo. Rany. Hrdlo. Môžeme dať toto říct. Nic nebylo, robíš si piču, pusti to znovu. Kamoško, ja analýzujem. Ja som tu kurva agent FBI, rozumieš? Ja som tu profiler.
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been
Počkaj, čo?
There was a lot of blood. Yeah, he was dead.
Jak je v obýváku? Počkaj, takže mi...
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that.
Nevedal, že bolo 9?
I walked in,
Na...
saw Simon.
Najskôr hovorila čet, že to telo našla v odpadkoch, nie? V pytli. A všimla si to tak, že boli rozházané krabice, tak išla pre baterku, vrátila sa tam.
Saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been cut. There was a lot of blood.
No nič, tak vieme, že... Dobre, takže vieme to, že má proste si rozdvojenú osobnosť, tá druhá oni akéby... Môže to byť aj tak v skutočnosti, že si rozdvojená osobnosť a nepamätáš si, čo spravila tá prvá? To je pičovina, nie? Víš, že tak môže byť? Že si proste nepamätá? Dám tam, že... Telo, pivnica versus obývak. OK, napríklad.
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round.
Aha.
She cut his throat clean open.
Chápeš to priznanie?
She'd only meant to scare him off.
Priznanie. Ešte raz to spustíme.
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present.
Unique present.
She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
Dobre, okej, čo môžeme... Protože tu ešte strašne veľa informácií není. Neviem, čo sme ešte nepustili. O Eve sme pustili všetko. Ok, o Hanách. Dobrá, to je priznanie ako... Dáme aj zrkadlo, Vydržte, jedna vecko. Možno tam budú nejaké... Jedna vecko. No, takže, čiže to je zajímavá hra ináč, ty kokot. Začalo to také, že o ničom a teraz už...
My name is Hannah. H-A-N-N-A-H. It's PATRO. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work from here, though. It's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street. Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry. Yes, my name is Hannah Smith.
Ja, akože...
Oh, shit.
Mala povedať iba áno alebo nie.
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
Florence a denníček. OK. Florence. Ferguson, bráško, Ferguson. Dobre, daj mi chvíľočku. Si to by mal dojsť za chvíľočku. Napíš áno alebo nie. Kam? Ako sem? Vydrž. Musíme na to prísť.
Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion.
Či sme mali vyhrať buď toto, Florence, alebo čo? Čo bolo to druhé? Florence, alebo...
Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight.
Deníček.
It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror.
Zrcadlo. Florence, zrcadlo, deníček.
She was me.
Ona byla mnou. Čo teda hru, volá sa to Her Story? Her Story sa to volá. A vyštrme, kto je... Vyšetrujeme, kto zabil jej manžela. Alebo frajera, ale myslím, že manžela, čet.
Florence raised me in her home.
Dobre, toto.
Florence was a warm, kind person. But she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers, letters, that kind of thing. Her story was in there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand. I guess I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she...
Nie, mne je dobre podľa mňa, celkom.
Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow.
Dobre, z toho to asi nechceme nič zobrať, čet. Žiadna
Never
taká.
dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know.
Nic z toho asi nebereme. Keby niečo chcete zobrať z tohto četa a použiť nejaké slovo, tak mi povedzte, hej? Dáme denníček. Či dáme 2N? Denník. Denník, jak sa píše denník, čet? DR? DR nič, takže zrcadlo. Zrcádko? Zrcátko? OK, zrcátko.
It wasn't the present so much, it was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The present was a mirror, a nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story. He made it specially for me.
Dobre.
The mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
Počkaj. Upstairs, však ona povedala, že... Kde mu ona podrezala to hrdlo? To je, počkaj, tu niekomu jebe. Však v obyváku, že? Tu niekomu kúruje.
Silverleaf? No. He normally silvers them properly. This mirror, it's supposed to look antique. The reflection isn't as good. It's the perfect mirror for someone who doesn't like to look at their own reflection.
Ona vtedy hovorila, že to dostala ona, ale tá druhá, ona povedala, že dostala to isté zrkátko ako ona. Takto sa mi zapovedala. Že rovnaký darček dostala.
Well, on his clothes, that would make sense. He made it. By hand. I mean, he brushes the silver onto the glass. The That's not how they make mirrors these days. I mean, he made the mirror and he gave it to me.
Dobre, čo ďalej? Ja to pochopil, že tamta dostala to stejné ako minule. Ja ti hovorím, podľa mňa to je rovnaký človek, chat. Má poruchu v hlave. Áno, lomeno nie, mám napísať.
No. I mean, yes, we have arguments, but he never runs off. He always comes back. We make up. It's always that way.
No je to stejný človek, určite o tom žiadna, ale akože dvakrát vypovídala z inej osobnosti. Aha.
Sure. Yes, of course, if that would help. Will you phone the house to let me know when you want to come round? Then I can make sure that I'm there. Thanks. Please find Simon. I love him so much.
Dobre, musíme ešte zistiť. Kedy sa stala tá vražda, chat? O koľkej to bolo? Jaj, ne.
No, he doesn't have any tattoos. He has a scar down here near his stomach, past his hip. Cut himself with some glass. That was before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not books so much, or watching TV. He likes TV. Suicide? No. I mean, he would never do anything like that. He is not the kind of person to do anything like that. I mean, to hurt himself? No.
Sklo. Chat, možná bych napsal pak vdova, abychom se dozvěděli více o té Florence. OK, vdova. Ja som taký jak detektív, hej, a snažím sa vyriešiť tento prípad, že kto ho zabil. Čiže ďalší Rain, zapojte sa, kto by potreboval, ja som hádžem do každého Raina, to mám piči. Ich tam oberám všetko. Počúvaj. Takže, brejle, či brýle, jak dáme ičet, brýle, výzva, rana, sebevražda, vražda, plechovku s listami našla u Florence, tetovanie, tetovaní.
Oh, my tattoo. I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake.
Chlapci. Znova pozrieť prvé?
No, he doesn't have any tattoos.
A teraz neviem, či rozprávať o ňom, alebo...
There's a scar down here near his stomach.
To hovorí o tom Simonovi, Jet. Ja by som potreboval vedieť, že či líkne svoju v úvodzovkách segru, či má alebo nemá.
So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, So I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist.
I don't exist. Čo som spravil? Čo sa stalo?
He saw me singing one of my shows, pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was.
Florence připomíná mi to film z Netflixu o dvojčatech, kdy si vyměnili život, když jedna umřela a ta druhá předstírala, že je ta druhá D.
To sa mi zdá niečo také videl. Echoes? Nie Echoes.
He saw me singing one of my shows, pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was. But he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
Počúvaj, fakt, teraz som išiel práve napísať, teda povedať Voodoo, že mne je z toho nagrcanie, jaká je ona jebla. Na 100% je rozdvojená, chápeš? Úplne. Dígl som, ďakujem ti veľmi pekne na ten gift subdíkes. To mi musím nájsť všetky zvazky, čo ti jebe. Dobre, takže teraz môžeme dať chat auto nehoda. Jak sa povie auto nehoda po český chat? Psychiatra? Psychiatria. Auto nehoda, to je rovnako, hej. Detektor lži. Lež. Listy. Čelo sme už kúkali, myslím. Itle sme kúkali tiež. Počkaj, tu je niečo.
The whole thing was wrong. The bags, I think they were from our kitchen, you can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need.
Máš ty prachy.
No počúvaj mi sem, ty kokotina bleda kostrata fiddlesticks, áno, to sa s tebou vyprávam, ako sa má.
The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
Takže boli zalepené, preto ich otvárala. Jak? Pytle. Nůž. Nie, to nebol... Prečo nůž?
Well, she has a knife. She's been cooking, I guess. She's been cooking him his favourite meal. She's his wife. And he's asleep and she doesn't want to wake him because he's ill. That's why she's sad. because he's ill and he might die. It's kind of a sad story, so I'm not sure what it is.
Choroba. Sklep.
Well,
Je vlastně choroba, nemoc.
fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people have been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. Only worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't lived in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in. As good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation.
Nemá kérku? Nemá lovíše? Počúvaj, čo keď budú fakt dve, ty kokot. A fakt to akože si nevymyslela. To? Prečo to? To. Top.
He was wearing a shirt, a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, black pants there.
Rozdvojený
He would have taken that with him. It's not in the
nepoznáš podle
house.
takových výpovědí tohle je určitě jako echoiz, jestli ta piča Florence řekla, že je dvojče mrtvá a nebyla, tak se jedna vydává za druhou nie. Hledej s tou porodní bábou a zapomeň na to, že je rozdvojená, akorát tě to plet.
Jak sa volá tá porodní bába? Porodní bába. Porod. Uklízečka. Florence. Sme videli všecko. Nemoc, to je ono. Nič. Simon. Carlito. Family. Rodina. Dieťa, Eve. Garzonga. Sklep sme dávali? Hej. Nůž, to sme mali. Zrcátko, to sme mali, sa mi zdá. Hej. Ona mu dotr... hrdlo? Houby. On tam pestoval tie houby v tej pivnici, ale to je blbosť, to nič nebude s týmto isto. Jebeť tak houby.
They said it was food poisoning. There was something in the food they ate. My dad liked to pick mushrooms, grow them too. They said it was the mushrooms. It was hard to believe. Death caps. They have a skirt around the cap. My dad taught me that. But, the police had no reason to think it was suspicious. They lived alone. And no one had any reason to hurt them.
To jak zamračila, čet? Toto je Eve, hej? Hannah má kérku teda, čet? Eve je bez.
They said it was food poisoning.
Dívej sa, aha.
They said it was food poisoning.
Kamaráde. Takže možno tá Hannah je tak jeblá len kvôli tomu, už někdo vyvolal.
Had any reason to hurt them.
Svíza. To ty nemáš kľúče, ty dement? Idem ťa otvoriť. Za chvíľku dohrám, tak zapalíme, vydrž. Dohrávam jednu hru. To je 15 minút. 15! Aj. Počúvaj. Takže, počkajte, čet. Hana je tá, čo má kérku? Alebo Eve má kérku? Zapálime? Nie trávu, že máme, Jaro donesol také čokoládové dutinky, čokoládové.
They said it was food poisoning.
Toto ma zaskočilo, chat. Ona je...
I was living in the attic. It was a very hard time. I was depressed. Was still pretty sick of the STD.
Počkaj, do piče.
I was living in the attic. It was a very hard time. I was depressed. Was still pretty sick of the STD. When I came down one morning,
Syphilis.
they were dead. They were in bed and both had been sick. They'd thrown up a lot. And I'd slept through it.
Sa ju z toho jeblo.
The police said it was the mushrooms they ate. Dad was a mushroom expert. I mean, he used to take us picking with him and he taught us how to recognise them. And there's no way he would have picked death caps. But the police believe that's what happened. They never even looked in the attic.
Takže, púda, na 100% púda, chat. Dobre, nie. Pohlavní nemoc. Nemoc. Syphilis, jak napíš syphilis?
No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow. So we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It was like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognised me, I started wearing a wig. Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant. But I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers. Drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed, If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
Rodiče.
I got pregnant. Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married. Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents. No cat. My parents had a cat before they died called Domino. It's this little black thing with white dots. And we never did anything about the cat flap, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it.
Domino čet.
Simon's parents offered to put me out, but I didn't think it would be a good idea. It would be too sad. Not right now. I'm staying at a friend's. We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other. Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway.
Principi, hľadáme, snažíme sa píše ide vraždu. Tak hľadáme v databázi podľa slovíčok, ktoré zistíme z konverzácií rôznych a z videí a z výpovedí, že kam sa môžeme ďalej dostať a hľadáme vlastne vraha, čo asi ako vieme, že to je jedna z nich asi. Počkaj, pozrieme tam psáníčko, deprese. Dali sme rodičov, tak máme máma nebo otec, máma.
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. Mum was amazed.
Viktor, čau, dobronoc. Nárfo, ďakujem Baber, do 9C, Prime, ďakujem ti dobrú. Či vidíte, spavím ti koľko UFCčko? Gamba bola, hej, profit. 700.
Not just the pretty ones, but the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between the pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper and dressing the pictures. Rapunzel's hair is cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger. Mum and Dad never knew what was going on.
Gáme dostaneš balans každý deň. Ja si cháni, tam poslám vlastne peniaze, keď to pochopíme.
Mum and Dad never knew what was going on. Got so good at it. We were so in sync that we'd use each other to cheat. If one of us had a hangover, the other one would go to school.
To mají dobrý
Whoever
vyřešené.
was best at a subject would sit the exam. There were lots of differences between us. Some things one is better than the other at.
Krystalný, čau. Takže škola. Nie. Kniha. Nie. Denník sme skúšali. Prečo sa teraz... Ja som dal 2 N-ka predtým asi, aha.
No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. It helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page.
Ešte budu musieť ísť.
When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs.
Prečo?
It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street.
Čet. Však tá druhá povedala, že rodičia zomreli v spánku. Na otravu hríbami. Pád. Schody. Obesov po sedle. Pád. Pád ze schodu. Smrt. Vražda. Sebevražda. Ďalší ranger na kasíne, kto by chcel? Oječko. Dobre. Ako kočka. Jak sa volá tá kočka, chat? Domino. Kočka. Zvonek. Jídlo. Len tak. OK.
It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present. From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict.
No.
We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday, then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. It turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left.
To tým autom vtedy išla asi do piče. To bolo asi vtedy. Nie, ja som bol escape, ja som kokot. Takže teraz tam dáme ešte dárek. Plán, dítě sme už mali. Dítě, doktor, hádka.
There's no couple stuff. A stupid argument, nothing specific.
Ahoj krásavec,
No one knows
Jakož
how to
darí
push your
sa.
buttons better than those you're close to.
Paruka.
A wig? You mean... But what type of wig?
Kapela, hlasy, krev, môžeme pozrieť. Zájo, čau. Či sa darí? No, to uvidíme počas UFC, či
I've
vidieť
never
tiket alebo
worn a
nie.
wig. What kind of wig?
Dík zajíci.
This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap?
Blond.
Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
Kapela. Kapela a hlasy. Hlasy. No nič, počúvajte. Niekoho vám to chýba. Možno polka, ani nie. Rapunzel. Môžeme ešte dať ten potrat. Porod. Porod? Porod to je, že? Polygraf. No, že... Dopíčeme do doby. Dvířka, dobre, skúsme ešte dvířka. Ale už poďme prejdeme na to web3, chlapci. Ideme to nastaviť telku a tak a ideme na to.
No, they were shut. Most of the windows are really hard to open anyway. It's stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door.
Dveře.
Yeah, I had to let myself in. The door locks if it swings too. Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house. I knocked on the door. No answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the
Sme
lock.
počuli toto už.
I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack. I shouted out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. He wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric.
Sme počuli celé? Prečo mi to ukázalo, že som to nepočul? Minulé říkala, že pije čajné kafe? Nepamätám, ty kokot. Prvýkrát povedala, že sedí v kuchyni a pije čaj, teraz povedala kávu? Nie, ona povedala, že skúsila, že kanvica je... Čo? Počkaj, daj mi ešte raz.
Okay. Pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it. Then I came out and I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
Počúvaj, oni ma dopletli ako kokoti to dve spiče. To je strašné, ma dopletli ako hovadočet. Každá to hovorí ináč, chápeš? Tu každá to im to jebe na hlavu. Telefón. Dobre, posledné videa a idem na tú webcečku.
Mobile phone? Yeah. Well, they have one for the glaziers,
Oh.
but it's only for work. I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle.
V nabíjačke.
I left the next day, Saturday. I slept for a few hours in the car. When I woke up, I came straight back. Simon wasn't returning my calls and I wanted to try and make up.
To bol mŕtvý.
I got back to the house and Simon wasn't there. And I... Is there a bin?
Táto musela zabiť. Ti hovorím.
No. No, he wasn't wearing his wedding ring.
Kamoško, to je to prázdne a prázdne. Si na to spomenula, jak ho rozjebala, tak sa dogrcela, chápeš? Sklárna. Jak sa volá ten jeho šéf? Prečo to hľadám? Vlastne už nikdy nebudem kúkať UFCčko. Konec. Pokračujeme ďalej, že budeme to dohrať. Je to zaujímavé. Ako je to také, že pomalšie a tak, že nie pre každého, ale to zaujímavé. Dosť. Môže byť. Zajtra dohráme, chat.